Hello, guys and gals, and this is part 14 of our reading of the Harvard Classics. And the Harvard Classics are composed of the Apology, Phaedo, and Credo of Plato, translated by Benjamin Jowett, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus, translated by Hastings Crosley, the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, translated by George Long, and edited by Charles W. Eliot, LLD, with introductions and notes. And now we're going to go over the copyright information, which is super important. It says copyright 1980, 1937, and 1907 by Grolier Enterprises Corporation and manufactured in the United States. So we finished Phaedo, and that took quite a while, actually. We had a couple weeks of Phaedo. But now we are to the Golden Sayings of Apictius. I'm not sure who wrote those, but probably Apictius. Okay. Here we go. The Golden Sayings of Apictius, translated and arranged by Hastings Crosley, M.A. Introductory note. Let's read that. Apictius was a Greek born in Hierapolis in Phrygia, probably about the middle of the 1st century A.D. His early history is unknown till we find him in Rome, the slave of Epaphroditus, a freedman of Nero's, the lameness. Okay, wait. A freedman of Nero's, the lameness, which is the only physical characteristic of his recorded, was, according to one tradition, due to torture inflicted by his master. He seemed to have become acquainted with the principles of the Stoic philosophy through the lectures of C. Musonius Rufus, and after his emancipation, he became a teacher in the system of that system in Rome. When the Emperor Domitian banished all philosophers from Italy about 90 A.D., Apictius was in Nicopolis in Epirus. Where he continued his teaching, he left nothing in writing, and for a knowledge of his utterance we are indebted to his disciple, the Greek philosopher and historian Ariane, who compiled from his master's lectures and conversations the discourse and, these words, Enchiridion, from which the Golden Sayings are drawn. To date, the circumstances of his death are unknown. Apictius is a main authority on Stoic morals. The points on which he laid chief stress were the importance of cultivating complete independence of external circumstances, and the realization that man must find happiness within himself, and the duty of reverencing the voice of reason in the soul. Few teachers of morals in any age are so bracing and invigorating, and the tonic quality of his utterances have been recognized ever since his own day by pagan and Christian alike. So, that was the introductory note. Now, the Golden Sayings of Apictius. 1. Are these the only works of providence in us? What words suffice to praise or to set them forth? Had we but understanding, should we ever cease hymning and blessing the divine power, both openly and in secret, and telling of his gracious gifts? Whether digging or plowing or eating, should we not sing the hymn to God? Great is God, for that he hath given us such instruments to till the ground withal. Great is God, for that he hath given us hands and the power of swallowing and digesting, of unconsciously growing and breathing while we sleep. Thus should we ever have sung? Yea, and this the grandeur and divinest hymn of all. Great is God, for that he hath given us mind to apprehend these things, and duly we use them. What then? Seeing that most of you are blinded, should there not be someone to fill this place and sing the hymn to God on the behalf of all men? What else can I that am old and lame, but not What else can I that am old and lame do but sing to God? Were I a nightingale, I should do after the manner of a nightingale. Were I a swan, I should do after the manner of a swan. But now, since I am a reasonable being, I must sing to God. That is my work. I do it, nor will I desert this my post, as long as it is granted me to hold it. And upon you, too, I call to join in this self-same hymn. 2. Yeah, 2. Wait. Okay, I think that's the page number. Okay. How then do men act? As though one returning to his country who has sojourned for the night in a fair inn should be so captivated thereby as to take up his abode there. Friend, thou hast forgotten thine intention. This was not thy destination, but only lay on the way thither. Nay, but it is a proper place. And how many more of the sort there be, only to pass through upon thy way? Thy purpose was to return to thy country, to relieve thy kinsman's fears for thee, thyself to discharge the duties of a citizen, to marry a wife, to beget offspring, and to fill the appointed round of office. Thou didst not come to choose out which places are more pleasant, but rather to return to that wherein thou was born, and where thou wert appointed by us to be a citizen. 3. Try to enjoy the great festival of life with other men. 4. But I have one whom I must please, to whom I must be subject, whom I must obey, God and those who come next to him. He hath entrusted me with myself. He hath made my way subject to myself alone, and given me rules for the right thereof. 5. Rufus used to say, if you have leisure to praise me, what I say is not. That in truth he spoke in such wise that each of us who sat there thought that someone had accused him to Rufus. So surely did he lay his finger on the very deeds we did. So surely display the faults of each before his very eyes. That was 5. Okay, 6. But what saith God? Had it been possible, Epictius, I would have made both that body of thine and thy possessions free and unimpeded. But as it is, be not deceived, it is not thine own, it is but finely tempered clay, since then this I could not do. I have given thee a portion of myself in the power of desiring and declining, and of pursuing and avoiding, and in a word, the power of dealing with the things of sense. And if thou neglect not this, but place all that thou hast therein, thou shalt never be let or hindered. Thou shalt never lament, thou shalt not blame or flatter any. What then seemeth this to thee a little thing? God forbid. Be content then therewith. And so I pray the gods. 7. What saith Antisthenes. Hast thou never heard? Is it a kingly thing, Osiris, to do well and to do evil spoken and to be evil spoken of? Oh wait, I see. Let me read that one again. This one's really interesting. What saith Antisthenes? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. The founder of the Cynic school of philosophy. Oh, hast thou never heard? It is a kingly thing, Osiris, to not Osiris is in the Egyptian guy. This is Cyrus is in the Pokemon guy, Cyrus. To do well and to be evil spoken of. Okay. Number 8. But to debase myself thus were unworthy of me. That, said Apictius, is for you to consider, not for me. You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself. For men sell themselves at various prices. This is why, when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "Appear by all means." And when Florus inquired, "But why do not you appear?" he answered, "Because I do not even consider the question. For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions and to reckon up the value of external things is not far from forgetting what manner the man he is. Why, what is it that you ask me? Is death preferable to life? I reply, life, pain, or pleasure. I reply, pleasure. Well, but if I do not act, I shall lose my head. Then go and act. But for my part, I will not act. Why? Because you think yourself. But one among the many threads which make up the texture of the doubler. You should aim at being like men in general, just as your thread has no ambition either to be anything distinguished compared with the other threads, but I desire to be the purple, that small and shining part which makes the rest seem fair and beautiful. Why then do you bid me become even as the multitude? Then were I no longer the purple. Number 9. If a man could be thoroughly penetrated, as he ought with this thought, that we are all in an especial manner sprung from God, and that God is the Father of men as well as of gods, full surely he would not conceive aught ignoble or base of himself. Whereas if Caesar were to adopt you, your haughty looks would be intolerable. Will you not be elated at knowing that you are the Son of God? Now, however, it is not so with us, but seeing that in our birth these two things are commingled, the body which we share with the animals, and the reason and thought which we share with the gods. Many decline towards this unhappy kinship with the dead. Few rise to the blessed kinship with the divine. Since then, everyone must deal with each thing according to the view which he forms about it. Those few who hold that they are born for fidelity, modesty, and unerring sureness in dealing with the things of sense never conceive aught base or ignoble of themselves. But the multitude, the contrary. Why, what am I? A wretched human creature with this miserable flesh of mine, miserable indeed, but you have something better than that paltry flesh of yours. Why do you cling to the one and neglect the other? 10. Thou art but a poor soul laden with a lifeless body. 11. The other day I had an iron lamp placed beside my household gods. I heard a noise at the door, and on hastening down found my lamp carried off. I reflected that the culprit was in no was in no very strange case. "Tomorrow, my friend," I said, "you will find an earthenware lamp, for a man can only lose what he has." Number 12. The reason why I lost my lamp was that the thief was superior to me in vigilance. He paid, however, the price for the lamp, that in exchange for it he consented to become a thief. In exchange for it to become faithless. 13. But God hath introduced man to be a spectator of himself and of his works, and not a spectator only, but also an interpreter of them. Wherefore it is a shame for men to begin and to leave off where the brutes do. Rather he should begin there and leave off where nature leaves off in us, and that is at contemplation and understanding, and a manner of life that is in harmony with herself. See then that ye die not without being spectators of these things. Number 14. You journey to Olympia to see the works of Phidias, and each of you holds it a misfortune not to have beheld these things before you die. Whereas when there is no need even to take a journey, but you are on the spot with the work before you, have you no care to contemplate and study these? Will you not then perceive either who you are, or unto what end you were born, or for what purpose the power of contemplation has then bestowed upon you? Well, but in life there are some things disagreeable and hard to bear. And are there none at Olympia? Are you not scorched by the heat? Are you not cramped for room? Have you not to bathe with discomfort? Are you not drenched when it rains? Have you not to endure the clamor and shouting and such annoyances as these? Well, I suppose you set all this over against the splendor of the spectacle, and bear it patiently. What then? Have you not received powers wherewith to endure all that comes to pass? Have you not received greatness of heart, received courage, received fortitude? What care I, if I am great of heart, for aught that can come to pass? What shall cast me down or disturb me? What shall seem painful? Shall I not use the power to the end for which I receive it, instead of moaning and wailing over what has come to pass? Number 15. If what philosophers say of the kinship of God and man it be true, what remains for men to do but as Socrates did? Never, when asked one's country, to answer, "I am an Athenian or a Corinthian, but I am a citizen of the world." Number 16. He that hath grasped the administration of the world, who hath learned that this community, which consists of God and men, is the foremost and mightiest and most comprehensive of all, that from God have descended the germs of life, not to my father only and father's father, but to all things that are born and grow upon the earth, and in a special manner to those endowed with reason. For those only are by the nature fitted to hold communion with God, being by means of reason conjoined with him. Why should not such an one call himself a citizen of the world? Why not a son of God? Why should he fear aught that comes to pass among men? Shall kinship with Caesar or any other of the great at Rome be enough to hedge men around with safety and consideration, without the thought of apprehension, while to have God for our Maker and Father and kinsman, shall not this set us free from sorrow and fears? Number 17. I do not think that an old fellow like me needs need have been sitting here to try to prevent your entertaining abject notions of yourselves and talking to yourselves in an abject and ignoble way, but to prevent there being by chance among you any such young men as, after recognizing their kinship to the gods and their bondage in these chains of the body and its manifold necessities, should desire to cast them off as burdens too grievous to be borne, and depart to their true kindred. This is the struggle in which your master and teacher, were he worthy of the name, should be engaged. You would come to me and say, Epictetus, we can no longer endure being chained to this wretched body, giving it food and drink and rest and purification, aye, and for its sake forced to be subservient to this man and that. Are not these things indifferent and nothing to us? It is not true that death is no evil. Are we not in a manner kinsmen of the gods, and have we not come from them? Let us depart thither, whence we came. Let us be freed from these chains that confine and press us down. Here are thieves and robbers and tribunals, and they that call themselves tyrants, who deem that they have, after a fashion, power over us because of the miserable body and what appertains to it. Let us show them that they have power over none. Number 18. And to this I reply, friends, wait for God. When he gives the signal and releases you from this service, then depart to him. But for the present, endure to dwell in the place wherein he hath assigned you your post. Short indeed is the time of your habitation therein, and easy to those that are thus minded. What tyrant, what robber, and what tribunals have any terrors for those who thus esteem the body and all that belong to it as of no account? Stay, depart not rashly hence. Number 19. Number 19. Something like that is what should pass between a teacher and ingenious youths. As it is, what does pass? The teacher is a lifeless body, and you are lifeless bodies yourselves. When you have had enough to eat today, you sit down and weep about tomorrow's food. Slave, if you have it, well and good. If not, you will depart. The door is open. Why lament? What further room is there for tears? What further occasion for flattery? Why should one envy another? Why would you stand in awe of them that have much or are placed in power, especially if they are also strong and passionate? Why? What should they do to us? What they can do, we will not regard. What does concern us that they cannot do? Who then shall still rule one that is thus minded? Number 20. Okay, we are 20 in. Seeing this, then, and nothing the faculties which you have, you should say, send now, O God, any trial that thou wilt. Lo, I have means and power given me by thee to acquit myself with honor through whatever comes to pass. No, but there you sit, trembling for fear certain things should come to pass, and moaning and groaning and lamenting over what does come to pass, and then you upbraid the gods. Such meanness of spirit can have but one result: impiety. Yet God has not only given us these faculties by means of which we may beat everything that comes to pass without being crushed or depressed thereby, but like a good king and father, he has given us this without let or hindrance, placed wholly at our, I don't know what this word is. Out, that's O. Okay, our O or own. I think it's probably own, but the N is cut off. Okay, it's own disposition without reserving to himself any power of impediment or restraint, thus possessing all these things free and all your own, free and all your own. You do not use them. You do not perceive what it is you have received, nor whence it comes, but sit moaning and groaning, some of you blind to the giver, making no acknowledgement to your benefactor, others basely giving themselves to complaints and accusations against God. Yet what facilities and power you possess for attaining courage and greatness of heart. I can easily show you what you have for upbraiding and accusation. It is for you to show me. Number 21. How did Socrates bear himself in this regard? How else than as became one more with fully assured that he was the kinsman of the gods? 20. We made it to 22. That's pretty good. Let me. We're going to stop that right here. Oh wow, there's lots of them. Okay. So, anyways, we have been reading from the Harvard Classics, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus. We have got a lot more of these to read, and they are very fascinating. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all that information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.